Welcome. In this section, we'll go over retirement eligibility for Tier 3 members and learn how to calculate a retirement allowance. There are 3 ways that you can qualify to retire as a Tier 3 LACERS member, one of which is through an enhanced service retirement, and here are the eligibility requirements. You can be age 63 or older with at least 10 years of city service and receive a retirement factor of 2%, or you can be age 63 or older with at least 30 years of city service and receive a retirement factor of 2.1%. Next, we have the eligibility for a normal service retirement. You can be age 60 or older with at least 10 years of city service and receive a retirement factor of 1.5%, or you can be age 60 or older with at least 30 years of city service and receive a retirement factor of 2%. LACERS also offers an early retirement option, and here are the eligibility requirements for this reduced allowance. You can be any age prior to age 60 with at least 30 years of city service and receive a retirement factor of 2%. However, an early retirement adjustment factor will be added to your calculation based on your age. Here is a snapshot of the early retirement reduction factors based on age. There is a complete chart that breaks down the factors to quarter years of age. For example, if you're 47 and a half or 51 and a quarter, in the appendix of the Tier 3 summary plan description. Looking at this chart, you can see that you could potentially retire as early as age 45, but you would receive a very steep reduction factor of 0.625. It's important to note that if you do decide to retire early, this reduction factor is a lifetime reduction and will not disappear, for example, once you hit a certain age. If you are thinking about retiring early, please be sure to keep this in mind. Now let's move on to calculate your retirement allowance. If you want a bird's eye view of what percentage of your final compensation you'll receive in retirement, take your service credit, or essentially how long you plan to work for the city, and multiply it by the corresponding retirement factor based on how you will be eligible to retire. For example, if you qualify for a normal retirement allowance at age 60 with 20 years of city service, you will simply multiply 20 by the retirement factor of 1.5%, which would equal 30% of your final compensation. Many city employees strive for 30 years of city service, so as you can see on this slide, they could receive anywhere between 45 to 63% of their final compensation, again, based on the retirement factor that correlates to their retirement eligibility. It's important to note that your retirement allowance will not ever exceed 80% of your final compensation. Here is what you will need to calculate your retirement allowance. You'll need your final compensation, your total service credit, the retirement factor that corresponds to how you are qualifying to retire, and, if applicable, an early retirement reduction factor that will be based on your age. Your final compensation will be determined by taking the average of your highest 36 consecutive months of pay with the city earned by your classification. This will be, in most cases, your last 36 consecutive months working for the city. As far as what's included in your final compensation, LACERS will use your base gross salary for your classification. It will not include, however, overtime pay, daily or non-regularly assigned bonuses such as acting pay, reimbursements, car or uniform allowances, or payments you may receive in lieu of benefits. Again, it will only be based on your base salary only. Using the information we just discussed, here's how you will set up your allowance calculation. Take your final compensation times your service credit times the retirement factor that corresponds to how you are qualifying to retire, and if applicable, times your early retirement reduction factor, and that will equal your monthly retirement allowance. Here we'll show you a sample calculation for a normal retirement. In this case, let's say you are age 60 with 20.25 years of service credit, and your final compensation is $4,000. You'll multiply 4,000 times 20.25 times the retirement factor of 1.5%, and that equals a monthly allowance of $1,215. There is another way to qualify for retirement. In the event that you become disabled as an active LACERS member, you may be eligible for a disability retirement. Please note that your disabling condition does not have to be job-related, but it must prevent you from performing your regular job duties. LACERS offers a loan program for eligible disability retirement applicants to help with finances while your application is being processed. If you need additional information about a disability retirement, please contact a LACERS disability counselor for assistance. Have a question? You can always reach out to LACERS for assistance by phone or email. We look forward to hearing from you. There's even more to learn about your benefits. Watch other retirement topic videos on the official LACERS YouTube channel.